Next up at UFC Kansas City, we have a very interesting, very new main event. This was put together about a month ago when we lost Khalil Roundtree and we lost Jamal Hill. But this is a good fight because we have two very high-level strikers in a main event that maybe not a title eliminator, but that will certainly define the top 5 rankings in the world. We have Ian Machado Garry at 15-1. He is 4-1 in the last 5. That lone loss on his record was a 3-2 decision loss to Shavkat Rakhmonov in a short notice main event just a few months ago. He's taken on Carlos Prates, 21-6 in his career, 5-0 in his last 5, riding an 11-fight win streak. Anybody talking about this fight is basically just leaning on Carlos Prates and the fight camp he's in, talking about the nerds, what the nerds are able to do, what the nerds have been able to do. Carlos Prates is training with high-level grapplers. Carlos Prates is knocking people out. Look what Carlos Prates' teammate just did in his fight and all of his other teammates. And while fight camps matter and training partners matter, I don't quite put that much credence into it. Ultimately, it comes down to each individual fighter and their matchup. And Carlos Prates is a very dangerous guy. He's got incredible striking. He's got big power, good range control. He's pretty light in his feet. He manages to throw kicks to basically any part of your body whenever he wants to. He'll launch head kicks at the drop of a dime. He'll throw spinning kicks. He'll defend most takedowns that come his way, which will matter in this matchup. And his power and accuracy are absolutely insane. He does have good cardio despite the smoking and the drinking, but we'll find out. This is his first 5-round fight in the UFC, and he's coming off that knockout win over Neil Magny. He's taking on Ian Machado Garry. I can see the comments now. Everybody loves to make fun of his personal life and his house guest, but the reality is Ian's a guy that seems to have done the right thing. He's made a couple of missteps PR-wise, but seems like a good dude doing the right things, trying to improve as a fighter. He moved over to Shoot a Box, I don't know, a couple fights ago, and we're starting to see those improvements. And what he hasn't done, though, is turn into a typical Shoot a Box, come forward, create chaos kind of striker. He maintained his sort of precision type striking, but what he has improved is the offensive grappling. He's shooting more, he trusts his jiu-jitsu more, and he's speaking beautiful Portuguese. Ian Garry has 6 significant strikes landed per minute on average, solid enough takedown defense to keep most fights on his feet as well, and now we're seeing offensive takedowns. And this is an interesting fight to break down. It's a tricky fight to break down because both of them are high-level strikers. But I imagine what will happen here is Carlos Prates' power is going to be something Ian hasn't experienced before. He will feel it, he will hate it, and he will immediately start grappling. So the question will be, how good is Ian's grappling going to be in this matchup? Will he be able to get Carlos down? Jacob and I were live at UFC 303, and we watched Ian get touched up by Michael Venom Page, decide, rightfully so, I need to start grappling. He started to grapple, and that's what won him that fight. If MVP had better takedown defense, MVP would have won that fight. This could be a similar situation where Carlos lands clean and Ian says, nope, I'm wrestling, and then he wrestles. Or this could be a situation where Carlos lands clean, Ian tries to wrestle and can't, and Carlos continues to land clean. Or I've just got a horrible read here, and Ian Garry is also the better striker. I'm going to pick Carlos Prates. I think his striking is just too fast, too clean. He hits too hard, and we've seen Ian with his chin up a little bit, and the Shoot a Box team isn't exactly instilling striking defense into any of their fighters. Carlos Prates is going to be the pick, but I almost hate how many people are on that side, which makes me feel like Ian Garry's going to win this fight. What do you think, Jacob?
Yeah, I've been very high on the Fighting Nerds team, Carlos Prates as well. I kind of came around on him. I actually was kind of a Carlos Prates hater back in the day. I had Trevin Giles as my lock of the week. Or sorry, I had Buffalo Bob. What the fuck was his name? Charlie Radke.
Yeah.
Charlie Radke is my lock of the week versus Carlos Prates because of that Trevin Giles fight. Trevin Giles was really lighting this dude up until he ended up getting knocked out. He was really successful with his jab. Trevin's got a really, really good jab, and it's going to come down this fight. I think you're going to know early what's going to happen in this fight. Either Ian is able to establish the jab or he's not. And if he can't establish the jab and Carlos is pressuring through the jab, he's probably going to get lit up and he's not going to like the pressure and he's not going to be able to get away from it. But Ian Gary's not a fucking idiot. He's not going to stand and trade with this guy. He's going to be waiting to counter strike. He's going to be backing up. And if he's able to land that jab on Carlos when Carlos is coming in reckless, that's how you keep somebody the fuck off of you. You land the jab, and then you can circle off. You land the jab, you circle off. Eventually, that starts adding up. They're pressuring into the jab more. You set everything up off that jab. So if Ian's able to land that jab early, I think he has an opportunity to kind of dominate, make this guy look really fucking silly. If Carlos is working past that jab, like you said, if Ian can go to the grappling, that's another avenue for the win for him. Obviously, if he can't do that, he's probably going to get lit up. But I think there's a couple avenues for Ian Gary to win in this fight where Carlos Prates, I think he's going to, pressuring past that jab, I think is going to be tougher than he thinks it's going to be. And he'll stay patient with it. I mean, he'll, and I think that's the biggest thing here. Why I flipped on this fight. I'm going with Ian Gary because I think he's not an idiot. He's just going to dance on the outside, pick his shots. Carlos, that reckless style, I think he's going to be too overconfident. That team is just, it's like when you're watching stocks, right? And a stock is just parabolic. It's like you start getting a little bit worried. They've had so much success, so amount, and I think Carlos is a little bit of the sloppiest of all of them, and I think Ian Gary could find an opportunity to style on this guy, and he's going to be my pick.
Yeah, listen, I'm picking Prates. I'm not betting it. This is his first massive test. This is a huge test because I was a hater of both these guys as well. Anytime I'm watching fights live and I have my computer, I will take notes, and my notes for Carlos Prates when he fought Trevin Giles was sucks and found a lucky punch late. Those were the notes. And so I used those notes also going into the Chuck Buffalo, also going into that fight. Clearly dumb as shit because that's not how that fight went down. Carlos Prates looked fucking amazing in that fight. I also have hated Ian Gary. Song Kanan almost put his lights out. You were at that fight too, right?
Yeah, he's never made a mistake like that again. I know that.
I mean,
it was a mistake, and he realized it immediately. He's like, yeah, I think I hung out in the pocket a little bit too long, whatever it was. And he's never done that again.
No, and he came back, shook it off like nothing happened, and dominated the rest of that fight. So I was an Ian Gary hater as well. So I've hated both these guys in the past. I've come to appreciate both of them. Carlos Prates obviously doesn't suck. And Ian Gary, while everybody else is going the cuck route, I've gone the opposite direction. I'm like, you know what? This is a good dude who shows up, he fights, and I think I started to gain a ton of respect for him when he stepped up on short notice against Shavkat. He was fighting Joaquin Buckley the week before, probably going to earn himself a title shot or get close to it, in a much more straightforward fight, and he pivots to, at the time, the most dangerous guy in the division for not a title. That's a commendable thing to do.
I mean, he backs up all his talk pretty much.
That's a commendable thing. All the risk, and obviously they paid him, but there was a ton of risk there for a guy with a very well-manicured career. There was a lot of risk fighting Shavkat on short notice, and he surprised a lot of people.
Even this a fight he doesn't need to take. He doesn't need to fight Carlos Prates. He's done enough.
I completely agree. An unknown killer right now. I completely agree. I ultimately went with Prates, but a lot of things could happen. There's so many questions in this fight, and I'm getting some hate in the comments, as I always do, with the fighting nerd stuff. People think I hate the fighting nerds. I don't hate the fighting nerds. What I do hate is the notion that because a gym is doing well, everybody in that gym is going to do well forever and they're never going to lose. That narrative drives me nuts. Carlos Prates is not John Silva. He's not Caio Borralho. He's his own fighter, and he could be better than all of them, or maybe not as good. So the only time I like leaning on the gym is obviously, they're getting good rounds and they're well-trained. Great. Outside of that, everybody's their own fighter. How many trash fighters come out of great gyms? Either way, picked Prates. I think Prates gets it done. Jakey Boy's on the other side. Sorry. Jacob's on the other side with Ian Gary here. And this is a spectacular main event. I'm glad they put it together. I like this, but do you like this better than Jamal Hill versus Khalil Roundtree?
I don't mind either one of them.
I think I actually like that. That got a ton of trash and they moved it. I think this main event is great because it actually matters very, very much. This means a ton for the division, and there's a couple of question marks next to both these guys' names. $8,500 in DraftKings Fantasy, $7,700 in DraftKings Fantasy. It's a 5-round fight. If you think it goes 5 full rounds, then you'll probably want the winner. And if you think that this ends by finish, you will also probably want the winner. You need exposure to whoever you think wins this fight. Don't let me convince you. Jacob's on the other side. Go ahead and take a look and see what the tiebreaker is with the artificial intelligence. And you can unlock that right now at WeWantPicks.com.